faceless brands are dying. And so I know a lot of you who feel like you're introverted or shy want to hide behind your products, but you need to create community and faces behind the brand. Creating a face to the brand is really important, and that's what helps you connect with your perfect customers.
You're listening to Thrive by Design, business, marketing, and lifestyle strategies for your jewelry brand to flourish and thrive. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Thrive by Design podcast, episode 192. Hey there, Tracy Matthews here, Chief Visionary Officer over at Flourish and Thrive Academy, and I am thrilled to be here today for a lot of reasons. I just got back from Traffic and Conversion, which is a conference not here in San Diego, out in San Diego. I'm back in New York City, recording this in my closet. And it's a super awesome conference that's completely overwhelming because there's 7,000 people there, all the best marketers in the world. And you probably have heard me talk a lot about my passion to help designers sell more jewelry on their website. It has been a commitment of mine actually for a long time, not just within the last year or two, but it's been since, we started Flourish and Thrive Academy. But I think over the past, 3 years or so, I think it's becoming increasingly important to diversify your revenue streams, especially for those of you who are selling to stores and at live events, because over time, what ends up happening is you start to face this feeling of burnout. And we had an episode a couple weeks ago, episode 189 with Nina Cooper, all about how to avoid burnout. And one thing that I hear from designers who are booking out shows for, one of our designers, Jen Licia, is joined our SOS coaching program because she wanted to get out of she has 36 shows a year, which is insane. And that's how she makes money. That's her primary source of income. She has some wholesale accounts. We're working on her online order strategy, but that grind of doing all those shows is exhausting. You have to have inventory for the shows. You have to show up, set the booth up, stand outside in sideways rain or blazing hot weather or something in between, and go. All your weekends are given to the shows. And, at a certain point, it's exciting because that's how you're building your business. But at another point, it's exhausting because if your only way to make sales is leveraging your time for money, it becomes, pretty much a grind. And I'm sure any of you who do a lot of shows might feel that same way. And so it's really important to be able to diversify your strategy so that you're leveraging the tools that you have and you're training your customers to actually buy from you online. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, episode 191 was all about how to train your customers to buy from you online. In fact, I left a space in my calendar so I could do this recap in the last minute and get it to my editors right away, because this episode is really important to all of you, because if you're trying to be someone who wants to get more sales, wants to get more customers, wants to leverage the power of the internet to get people who already buy from you to buy more from you online instead of having to meet them at a show, and double down on that and start attracting more people like that, you need to learn what I'm about to teach you today, because it's very, very important. So if you are interested in learning more about everything that I talk about today, I'm going to be sharing especially the content marketing piece that I talk about with Ezra Firestone. And many of these strategies are really great for training your customers to buy from you online. And I'm excited because we're going to be revealing how to tie this all together in a very special workshop that we're hosting that is part of our SOS coaching program. But we're opening up this 10-week workshop to outside students who are not members of SOS. So here's how you can kind of check this out and jump on this workshop. You're going to head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/train your customers and fill out an application right there. This is an investment. I'm not going to lie. It's a $3,000 workshop that we are creating, and it's designed to really walk you through the 10 weeks to do this with you, to build your email list, to create a content marketing plan, to set up a consistent email marketing strategy, and to also get your customers used to buying from you online. I promise you, within this short period of time, you are going to probably double the sales that you already have on your website, because I'm assuming if you're joining this, you don't have the sales that you want coming from your website. We're going to help you 10x your lead generation strategy and help you create a long-term growth cycle that keeps your customers coming back for more. Because we know, and in fact, I even talk in this episode about what Brendon Bouchard said about recurring revenue and repeat customers. Ezra Firestone also talks about this. Repeat customers are the way to build a product-based business. And this is what it's all about. It's to get people who already buy from you to buy again from you, but use your website as a tool. And this works for people who are selling wholesale. This works for people who are selling direct to consumer. And this works for just about any business model. If you're doing one-of-a-kind work, custom work, like a more of a production line, it will work for any strategy. It's just about tweaking it to match your business model. So I'm very excited about this. And the workshop is really designed. I'm going to give you just a quick hint of what it's all about. We'll be in the beginning of the week focusing on a training, which will be an interactive training. Basically, I'm going to teach you some content. We're going to take a break. You're going to go do it. And then I'm going to come back again, answer any questions, maybe give you another piece of content that you're going to go back and implement. And then you're going to finish it all up. You'll have a couple days to finish it up. And then we'll do a Q&A towards the end of the week about that specific thing. Answer your questions, also review your material, anything that you have up and running. This is really for action takers, and it's for people who want to dive deep into your business. We'll have a couple of implementation weeks in there because I know that for many of you, you're actually running a business and you might not have the bandwidth to stop everything and just do that. So we're going to really create an opportunity for you to identify the gaps in your strategy that block your buyers from buying from you online. We're going to build your email list really fast. We're going to start making sales from your email list consistently because that's the important thing. We're going to create content that connects and generates leads that actually convert into sales, which is awesome. And I think the most important piece of this is that you're going to enjoy the lasting benefits of repeat sales and customers, because that's what, as I mentioned, it's all about. And more importantly, we're going to get her done. This is what this workshop is all about. We're doing it with you. So training, implementation, review, feedback, so that you can get it all done. It's not just a bunch of trainings. It's not another course. While there will be some education involved, it's really about getting this done. And if you're part of our SOS program, you already know that you get this as part of one of the benefits of being in the program. And if you're not in the program and you've been thinking about it or you're not sure, this is a great way to get a taste of what we do. This is much more intense than the regular schedule in SOS. And after, if you decide that maybe joining the program is something that you'd like to do, we can get coaches on with you to help you really double down on what you've learned in this workshop. So it's really about getting things done and moving forward. You can work on it. Your marketing person can work on it. Someone on your team, whatever it is, we want to really help you move your business forward. So if you'd like to apply, we are only accepting applications. We are reviewing the applications because we want to make sure that it's the right people are joining us for this and to make sure that you're going to get the most benefit out of it. And there are some guidelines and parameters, which we'll walk you through in the application. You can head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/train your customers. And if you're really not sure if it's right for you, I'd love to invite you to apply for a strategy session. I'll have the link in the show notes for this podcast, but you can also head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/strategy. Apply for a session there if you're already doing at least $50,000 a year in sales or more, and you're trying to build a $100,000 revenue stream just by selling on your website, then you can apply for a strategy session and chat with me or Natasha. We'd be happy to chat with you and see if this is a good fit for you. So let's dive in to today's episode, which is all about my experience at Traffic and Conversion. I love live events. I'm an extrovert. I love being around people. I love meeting people. And so, of course, my favorite thing about going to live events is always the networking opportunities. It's meeting new people, seeing my friends that I never get to see that live in other cities, reconnecting with people that I've known from the past. And it's so funny. I was hanging out with this woman at my friend Jen's event named Lee Richter. And I swear we've met before and we're both scratching our brains, how do we meet? And it was funny because I already had her number in my phone. And we're like, what? This is so weird. So anyway, just meeting new people. Actually, maybe it wasn't Lee's number I had on my phone. It was another girl, Jacqueline, that I had on my phone. But it's just funny to know, you meet people that cross your path that really make a big impact. And you get to reconnect with them at events like this, which is pretty awesome. So I wanted to start with my friend Jennifer Kem's influencer dinner that I was invited to. It was her birthday, and 50% of the people there were friends and people that I knew, which is super awesome. It was her birthday. She just launched a new podcast called the Femfluence Podcast. It's really about leadership for female-owned businesses or women-owned businesses. And if you're a dude, you can certainly listen to it, but it's all about women supporting women. And I love what Jenny's doing and how she's always been an advocate to support her lady bosses out there. And I never use the word lady boss, but I just decided to use it right there. And I think it's super powerful because Jen is someone who's a friend of mine. She's in a mastermind group of mine back in the day, but she also is just a powerhouse. I mean, that's the best way to put it. She is out there. And even though she is an introvert, you would never guess it because of how powerful she is. And so I'd highly recommend that if you're interested in empowering yourself, that you start listening to this show. It's a really great show. Then I got to reconnect with my girl, Amy Porterfield. I love Amy, and her podcast is one of my favorites. It's one of the only podcasts that I listen to like pretty much every single episode. It's called Online Marketing Made Easy. And if you don't know who Amy Porterfield is, she's just an awesome person in general. Funny backstory. I met Amy at a Marie Forleo event probably like 8 or 9 years ago. I can't remember. It was when I first got involved in Marie's community. And I was single at the time. And after, there was this after party at a bar. And I remember I always liked to sit in the front, and I was sitting behind Amy and one of her friends. And I see Amy and her friend at the bar, and we're sitting there chit-chatting. I start getting hit on by a guy. Amy's trying to set me up with the dude. She's telling me the story about how her and her husband, Hobie, met. And it was just like a really funny situation and circumstance. And so I laughed so hard when I saw her at the dinner. It was like I gave her a big hug because I don't think I've seen her probably in like 5 or 6 years. It's been a long time. And it was just so great because I feel like I know her because I listen to her all the time, which maybe is what happens to you guys when you listen to me. I'm not sure, but it was super fun, and we're staying in touch now, so I'm very excited about that. I got to hang out with my girl, Diana Howes. Diana founded the company Tiny Devotions, which is one of the original yoga jewelry brands. She recently sold it, but she calls herself the Chief Financial Officer or Chief Financial Executive. I'm not sure, something like that. But anyway, she is or Chief Financial Entrepreneur. Sorry, Diana, I'm kind of scrapping this a little bit, but it's cool because the baseline of all of this is that she's a badass with helping entrepreneurs like really dial in on their money stuff. So I love chatting with her. I got to sit with her all day in a workshop led by Adrienne Dorison called Clockwork, or Run Like Clockwork. And I'm going to share some takeaways from that momentarily. But Diana and I have been friends for like online for like 3 years. And this is the first time we've met in person. So that was awesome. I got to meet Jill and Josh Stanton, who I've been following from afar for a long time, which was really fun. And I got to hang out with my baby bathwater peeps, which was really cool and too short of a period of time. So my favorite thing, and there's so many other people that I got to hang with, my friend Laura, my friend Selena, so many people that I got to see and reconnect with, and too many people to even say. Clint was there, of course, my buddy. But I want to get into the good part about the episode today. So first and foremost, on Sunday before Traffic and Conversion, I invested in going to a workshop because I truly believe in investing in myself. I do it all the time. I, at a minimum, probably spend about, I would say probably $50,000 a year on mastermind groups, education, going to conferences, events to up-level my skill set, to meet people, to network with partners for my businesses, and to elevate and grow. And I know that some of you might say like, holy moly, $50,000, but I'm drinking the Kool-Aid because every time I invest in going to a workshop or something, the ROI that I get when I apply it is like 20 times what I paid for the actual or invested in the actual workshop or event. So if you're someone who is only looking at the upfront investment and not thinking of the long-term ROI of how powerful workshops and events and coaching programs can be for your business, I would like you to rethink, because they will change your life. And I promise you, if you actually do the work and implement what you learn, you will have a great result. The problem is that a lot of times people invest and they don't do the work. And so they don't get the ROI, and they're like, this is not worth it. It just costs a lot of money, blah, 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 blah. Or can I Google that? And that's all, yeah, sure, you can Google it, but are you going to really do it? And I think the other thing is like, you can Google it, but are you really going to be held accountable to do it? Or do you even know what to Google is the other thing. I always laugh about that. Can't you Google that information? Sure, but do you know what you're Googling? That's like, I don't know. I've said that a million times. You probably heard me say that. Anyway, Adrienne Dorison, the most amazing, smart ass little operations person I've ever met is partnering with Mike Michalowicz, who I had on the show many episodes ago about Profits First. I'm going to interview him and her again about Clockwork because this format is amazing. I already listened to the book because I do books on audiobooks. Listened to the book Clockwork before I went to this workshop, and it was awesome. And I can't wait to bring Adrian in to come speak to my team and to train them, but also to come speak to our SOS students because our September workshop is going to be all about building a company that can grow without you. And I think that's the most important part. So I think one of my biggest takeaways from that workshop, besides having a queen bee role, and if you want to know what the QBR is, you can read the book Clockwork. It's a great book. Or join us for SOS and we'll tell you more about it. But it's that CEOs should be spending 90% of their time doing the things that either make the company money, grow the business, or design strategy for the company. And I know many of you are spending most of your time working in the day-to-day of your business, and that's never going to get you anywhere. And I know when you're a solopreneur, oftentimes there's this critical mass of like doing and spending that design time, but this is really important. And it's actually the foundation of everything that I do and will be doing at creativesrultheworld.com, my new platform. If you haven't downloaded the visionary code, definitely do that right now. And I'll have a link in the show notes, but you can just head on over to creativesrultheworld.com. You'll see it on the homepage there. Anyway, this is what it's all about, is creating the space for you to be creative, but using that time to be strategic on growing your business. And this is the missed opportunity. I think people think, oh, I'm creative, I suck at running a business. But really, you're creative, which means you're good at running a business, and you need to use that creativity to actually build your business. Super powerful. Huge, huge takeaway. And there's so many more with Clockwork. I didn't go to too many talks at this because I didn't want to be overwhelmed, but I did go to 4, and all of them I had really awesome takeaways, different amounts of takeaways from each of them, but all of them really good. So I'm going to share the 4 talks that I went to, biggest takeaway that I had. Because sometimes the gold is really in the conversations that you have with your friends and buddies and the people that you meet, but also the talks. So, of course, I had to go and support my girl, Laura Belgray. Laura, I've interviewed her for Thrive by Design before. So if you haven't listened to episode 58, How to Spark Ideas for Headlines That Sparkle with Laura Belgray, then definitely make sure that you listen to that now. I'll have that in the show notes as well. She taught a lot about how to use email to sell. But all of the things that she talked about are also useful for content, because I think content marketing strategy is really important in this day and age. So the number one takeaway with Laura is that email creates an intimate relationships with your email list. So people get to know your brand in you. And this is really important. My favorite I circled this really big and highlighted it, is to be flawsome. And what flawsome means is awesome, but show your flaws. And a lot of people talk about being vulnerable. You don't want to be having meltdowns on your social media and stuff like that, but you want to be human. And I think that was the biggest thing that she was trying to get across. Like, nobody's perfect. We all have our bad days. Show some of your flaws that make you quirky and unique and perfect just the way you are. So you don't have to be perfect. You just got to get it out there. So whether you're writing emails or designing emails or putting out social content and creating stories, this is what sells, having that connection to your audience. You always want to be talking to one person in everything that you do. That's why having a first name field is often important. You never want to say, hey, you guys, or hey, you. I know that I sometimes make that mistake when I'm recording the podcast or even sometimes writing, but it's easy to kind of get off track because you know in your head you're speaking to multiple people. But at the end of the day, you want to make it about your customer and just one dream client. Subject lines are really important to getting people to open emails. So you want to make sure that they're curiosity inducing. And I'm going to share a couple things places where you can get Laura's amazing little mini courses that are super, super reasonable after this, just because she's my friend and I like to share what she does. What you don't want to do in your subject line is give away the entire story. Pique their curiosity so they actually want to open the email. This is really, really important. Use preview text or the body of the email to complete the subject line concept or thought. And then this is my favorite thing. I even wrote an email to our entire list about this a couple of days ago, is don't ghost. Don't ghost your list. That means you're not emailing enough. In fact, I am totally guilty of this with my jewelry list, and I got to get an email out to them. When you ghost your list and you don't reach out to them on a regular, consistent schedule, they forget who you are. That's when the unsubscribes spike. People always say like, oh, if I email too much, they're going to unsubscribe. So I'm only going to email like once a year. Well, if you email only once a year, they don't even know who you are. And they're like, what the heck is this? Is this spam? And then they unsubscribe, report you for spam and all those things. And so Laura has some really amazing little mini courses that you might want to check out, including her tagline tackler course. You can grab the About Page Builder. It's a really awesome little template that she has, and 60-minute makeovers for copy. So if you're struggling to write, these are really great little mini courses. You can head on over to talkingshrimp.com/shop, and I'll have that in the little link over there too. No need to write it down. If you just head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 192, we'll get her done for you and have a link right there. So I'm always like fascinated by what Ezra Firestone does and teaches and everything. And he's, he doesn't know it, but he's sort of like, I'm just fascinated by how amazing he is. He has several companies that he runs. He has an 8-figure product-based company. It's makeup and skin products for women over 50, but it's still awesome. Number one takeaway from Ezra, guess what it is? Content is king, even with the product-based business. The second takeaway is that faceless brands are dying. And so I know a lot of you who feel like you're introverted or shy want to hide behind your products, but you need to create community and faces behind the brand. It doesn't always have to be you. It can be your customers. It could be stock photography or model shots of your perfect clients, but creating a face to the brand is really important, and that's what helps you connect with your perfect customers. I just talked about Laura's tagline tacklers. Well, Ezra says, create a tagline that expresses who you are. So in 6 words or less, describe that completely. Taglines are important. I don't always have taglines for my businesses, but I think that these are really key to helping the people who find you understand if what you do is right for them. And it helps them connect on your values and the things that you stand for. You want to make sure that you add copy on your social proof. And so social proof, for those of you who don't know what it is, testimonials, if you're featured in the press, all that stuff, you want to make sure that you're using not only video content, and we're going to talk a little bit about formatting video content in a square format for mobile, but that you're using copy on that square content for mobile. So let's say you're shooting a regular video that is in the horizontal format, and you want to transcribe or turn it into a square video. You can do that really easily by using an app that will allow you to write copy on the top and the bottom, and it turns it into square. So you can have a headline in your video that allows you to kind of create viral content, but also the copy, if you're using any type of social proof for ads or social media, you want to make sure that you're using copy that actually connects with your audience and you're putting headlines and all of that. So this is really important. If you're running ads, you want to make sure that you use image and video ads in the same ad set. This is my tip number 5 and takeaway number 5. So Facebook ends up picking the best one to sell the same product. So this is really important. And it's definitely more of a scaling tactic. If you're not running ads yet, I don't suggest that you do until you have a sales funnel set up. It doesn't really make sense for you to just like randomly run ads. It's not a good strategy, and it's also a waste of money unless it's just awareness ads about your brand. In order to really have the biggest impact with ads, you need your website set up properly. That's exactly what we help you do in our SOS coaching program. You also want to get your fans to consume the content first. So retarget them with sales ads after they're watching your content. And you can get your content out in email. You can post it on your blog. You can promote the content on social media. And it's definitely important to make sure that you're working on your copy. And here's what I mean by this. We talk a lot here about the customer journey. It starts with know, like, and trust. And once people know, like, and trust you, they eventually will become buyers of your products, and then eventually brand advocates. So this is all part of what we teach here as part of the desire journey. But content is the thing that actually gets you there. And user-generated content is really important for this, as it's actually weaving into topic 7. And I'm going to share more about that with you in a minute. But you want your fans to actually be consuming content. So it's important that you don't just email out only newsletters or only blog posts or only sales pitch emails. It's about getting on a consistent schedule where you're doing all of it. And it's important that you're posting this on social media, that you maybe eventually get a messenger bot up and start sending out content that way. The consumption is the key to build that know, like, and trust factor that gets people continuing to go and watch what you do. And weaving this into user-generated content, social proof, showing your customers, social proof meaning like have your customers do reviews of your product and share what they're doing. Have your customers shoot videos of themselves wearing or take pictures of themselves wearing your products, your jewelry in particular. Have your customers featured in the products. Get them to this is like the best way that you can actually put a face in front of the brand too, because it's showing people what the experience of your brand is all about and adds so much value to what they can do. So this is part of your follow-up sequence. You can send out emails post-purchase after someone buys and ask people to actually shoot a video of themselves wearing it. Ask them to take a picture and so that you can repost it because you like to share, your customers wearing the work. Really important. So I'm going to be moving on to some more ninja strategies, which may or may not be relevant to all of you. But ultimately, especially if you're running ads on Facebook or you want to eventually run ads on Facebook, one of the best strategies is to target people who actually watch your videos. So creating video content that is either uploaded and posted on Facebook or Facebook Live that is actually embedded into your website later, because you can use the embed code. And instead of using YouTube embedding or embedding from Vimeo, you can embed Facebook videos on your website or your blog. And this is really important because if you're retargeting for traffic, you can embed those videos and it counts as a Facebook view. This is super important. And then you can serve ads to those people after they consume the content. Can you see how this is a great strategy because you're creating one piece of content. You can use it in your newsletter. You can share it on Facebook. You can create a square format that you can put on your social media. You can use the same thing for your IGTV and chop it up into smaller blocks for Instagram stories. So many different ways that you can use it. Topic number 9 from Ezra is that consistency is key, and you're going to hear this recurring theme from everyone. So if you're emailing, if you're posting on social, you're using Pinterest, you want to make sure that you're doing this consistently. You need to email at least once a week. Repeat after me. You need to email and blog at least once a week. I'm adding blogging in there too. And or create content. And then social should be at least once a day. You don't have to post on every single platform every single day, but it's important to consistently post. That's important. Here was another sort of ninja strategy. And number 10 is to have a sticky header on the top of your website that when you scroll down, it stays there. And that header should have 2 calls to action. One is to shop in your shop. The other is to sign up for your email opt-in offer, whatever that is. If it's a discount, great. If it's free shipping, great. If it's maybe join your VIP insider club for a discount, whatever it is, great. Those 2 things need to be on that sticky header, and the sticky header stays at the top of the website even as you're scrolling down so people continue to see it. Topic number 11, and I really love this coming from Ezra, was to state your intentions ahead of time with your audience. What do you stand for? Identify how this aligns with them. So you can map out your brand values, what makes you unique and different, how you stand out as a brand, and then also talk about the quirks of your personality and how those align with your brands, because when you do that, you can start connecting with your customers even more. Number 12 is one of my favorite takeaways from Ezra, which is expand your product line. Make sure that you have enough. One of the biggest mistakes people make is that they're constantly discounting product to try and make sales, when in reality, that method really just trains customers to buy from you on sale. They won't buy regularly. In fact, Ezra used this example of JCPenney doing that, and they're now out of business. They weren't making money. And so in one way to kind of get out of that sales trap is to make enough product. Robin and I talk about this all the time, and we have since the beginning, that when you are building your brand that you need to, or you're building your collection, I should say, that you should be at least launching 2 collections a year. But when you start to get ninja, it should get up to 5. Really depends on your sales volume. I mean, if you're doing less than maybe $150,000 a year, I wouldn't probably do more than 3 collections a year. But if you're doing more than that in the multiple 6 figures, you should be doing up to 5 collections a year, because you want people to come back and buy more. And if you don't expand your product, there's nothing more to buy. And we know that repeat customers and recurring revenue is the way that you grow your business. And finally, that was almost 3 topics in one right there for number 12. Expand your product line. Don't discount, and also get your customers to buy from you again. Finally, topic 13 from Ezra was really about premium products. He says, in this day and age, they're the way to go. You're never going to compete with Amazon. You're never going to compete with Target. You're never going to compete with Walmart. Just go premium. Don't try to be the low budget line that competes with the big people, because unless you have hundreds of millions of dollars backing you, you're never going to be able to compete with them. All right. These last two, I'm going to talk about Brendan Burchard and Julie Solomon quickly. Brendan, I love Brendan. If you haven't ever seen Brendan speak, he is amazing. He's such a fireball, kind of dorky nerd, but he is like really engaging. And I love watching him speak because I always learn something new, not about just about the content, but about speaking in general, because he's just so good. But he always has some really amazing takeaways. And these are the things that I thought were really relatable to this audience. He primarily teaches people who are experts who sell like services or courses or coaching and stuff like that. But building a real business requires recurring revenue, also known as repeat sales from the same customers. Everything that I've talked about, every single bullet point is talked about something about consistency, but consistency breeds repeat sales. And that is how you train your customers to buy from you online. It's getting consistent, having sources of recurring revenue, and getting people to buy from you more than once. The next big takeaway from Brendan was the difference between he really used 7 and 8 figure businesses, but I'm relating this to my audience. The difference between 4, 5, 6, 7, or even 8 figure businesses has solely to do with mindset and your approach to business. Think small and you get small. If you think that you can never cross that 6-figure mark, you're never going to cross the 6-figure mark, honey. Hate to break it to you, but that's the truth. So you always have to be working on your mindset and the way that you approach your business, the way that you strategically build your business, the way that you get other people's eyes on your business so that you can actually grow and scale. So important. And when you do that, you start to build and expand and get more repeat customers. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about Julie Solomon. She talked a lot about how to create a narrative with your dream client to make them the center of your story so you can bring them along for the ride. So you've heard me talk about kind of the desired sharing proposition and how your dream client is at the core of that. And I did this exercise in our Dream Client Clarity Kit course, and also our Laying the Foundation course in the segment about Dream Client, about my dream customer, Kate. And the one thing that I thought was so awesome that Julie did was that she created this narrative of Olivia, her dream customer. And Julie works with more influencers and bloggers, and talked about Olivia's journey, about how she was dissatisfied. She wanted to do something on her own, and how she came across becoming an influencer. And the story's longer, and I'm not Julie, so I can't repeat that story, but I can share with you a little bit more about the narrative of my dream client, Kate. So Kate had just lost her grandmother, and they inherited some jewelry, her family members. And it's been this point of contention because one of the pieces that she really wanted was inherited by her brother, who doesn't have any daughters, and they're not planning on having any more kids. She doesn't really like her sister-in-law. So it's been this huge point of contention because the jewelry should stay in the family per her belief. And if her brother ends up taking this piece of jewelry, her sister-in-law is going to be the one wearing it. And it really bothers Kate. And on top of that, she is thinking about getting engaged. Her and her boyfriend have been together for a long time. She really wants a custom ring designed because she's not someone who wants something that everyone else has. She's a really successful creative director here in New York City. She makes over $350,000 a year. And one of her core values is to really stand out with her fashion and her jewelry. And she likes to buy collectible pieces that she'll wear forever. It's not about quantity. It's really more about quality and personal meaning. And this is something that she loves to create. So she stumbles across my website because she's searching for engagement rings and realizes that I do heirloom redesign and reaches out for a contact. I think one of the things that she's really hesitant about is that these pieces of her grandmother's that she wants to redesign, she didn't really like the style, but the stones and the meaning, because she was so close to her grandmother, have really intense meaning for her. She's not sure if she can trust me. So she stumbles across some of the testimonials. She watches a few of the video case studies of my clients and realizes that this might be the perfect designer for her, not only to design her engagement ring someday, but also to redesign these pieces that her grandmother passed down to her over the generations. So it's really important to make the customer the center of your journey and to really create a narrative around who your customer is, not just identifying the details, but what's their story? Like, make up a story about them. It's really fun. It's like creating a fantasy around it. So I wanted to just share those takeaways with you. This was really powerful opportunity for me to go and connect with people, to be in the likes of some really amazing men and women, have the opportunity to connect with some awesome influencers and to kind of get, really take my business to the next level, to have this opportunity also to help you take your business to the next level with these takeaways. So I wanted to invite you to check out the show notes because I have a lot of links this week. I'm going to link everything that I spoke about in this episode and share with you. And I wanted to also remind you that if you are someone who's trying to train your customers to buy from you online and you can't figure it out and you already have a successful business, or you're trying to kind of move the needle to move a lot quicker and you're ready for a done with you solution, I'd love to invite you to apply for our How to Train Your Customers to Buy From You Online workshop. You can head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/train your customers and find the application right there. It's a simple form. There's no obligation. If you fill out the application, we'll get you on the phone with either me or someone on my team, probably Natasha, as the other member of my team. We're both taking calls to really decide, help you decide if this is the right fit for you or not. The 10-week workshop will be interactive. It's going to be a get or done type of thing. This is really about you implementing quickly and seeing results fast. So by the end of the year, I want you to make some traction on building that 6-figure revenue stream of just selling via your website, regardless of your business model. So if you're in and you want to give it a thumbs up, let's do this. Head on over to flourishthriveacademy.com/train your customer, and we'll do it right there. If you have any questions or trying to find the links or whatever, they'll all be over at the show notes over at flourishthriveacademy.com/episode 192. I can't believe we're coming up on 200 episodes. This is crazy and amazeballs at the same time. So if you enjoy what you're listening to today, it would be my honor if you would just give us a little rating or review. You can review us on any platform that you listen to, but I mean, most people listen on iTunes. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, find us on iTunes. Make sure that you're subscribed and that you're downloading the episodes as well. Thank you so much for listening today. This is Tracy Matthews signing off.